The Divi origin story. I think we should,
Yes,
like, we haven't
yes.
really done that, and I feel like you're the best person to give us the Divi origin story.
So you want like the real deal or like
Yeah,
the
full
Sure.
honesty,
Yeah, this is like
transparency.
this is the cold hard. This is the foundation spaces,
Yeah.
so we could be honest.
so okay, all right. So I got started in crypto living in Costa Rica in 2013, 2014. I got Bitcoin, and my friend had told me about Bitcoin. He's like actually a neighbor now. He actually moved down to Costa Rica and lives next to me. He's friends with Shane as well. And he his name's Robbie. We call him Bitcoin. I call him Bitcoin Robbie. But he told me about it early on. But he was an artist, and I was a physicist, right? So I grilled him with all these questions, like how can it be unhackable? He was telling me about blockchain. I didn't believe him, this kind of stuff, and he
Mhm.
didn't have good answers because he wasn't a tech guy, and although he's very good at like music technology and video tech, and but and so he's so then I but so I was watching it. I was always following the tech news, even though I was living in the jungle, and I started going up and up and up and up. And so I was like, oh, maybe I should get some of this stuff. But I thought, you know what? I'm not going to get Bitcoin. I'm going to find out like the new cool new ones, that nobody else is getting. And it was at the beginning of Ethereum and Ripple. So
Hmm.
I thought I'll get those. And so I started trying to buy Ripple. And because I heard that Google was one of the investors in it. And I thought, oh, that's the one that's going to be the big one, not this Bitcoin thing. And so the only way to buy it, this is so ridiculous, is to go onto Second Life. The the
Really?
the yeah,
Yeah.
at the time, the only way that I could find to buy it was to go onto Second Life and get some of their coin in the metaverse, and then go to this other website and exchange it for something that you could exchange for Ripple or something like this. And then
Wow.
all of the Ripple was, and I could only buy like $50 worth at a time, and something like this. So every day I was buying like $50 worth, and this is when it was like a hundredth of what it is now, and or maybe a thousandth even. And so I started buying it, and it was all accumulating in this website. I didn't know what it was. It was like a wallet or something. And now I know what it was, but at the time I couldn't really understand what it was. It was like a custodial thing. I didn't know what any of these words meant, just despite being a tech guy, right? Like it was really confusing. And then all of a sudden I got a message that they were hacked or whatever, and there was some sort of vulnerability
Oh no.
in the bridge between this and that and the other thing, and all my money was gone.
Oh
And
God.
so I was like, fuck
Wow.
this. So I never bought Ethereum, and which was at the time like a dollar. And and so I lost like, I think I bought like $600 worth or something. And so I lost all of it, and I bought maybe $500 worth of Bitcoin when it was like 3,000 or 6,000. And then I got out of crypto for like 2 years, 3 years, something like this, because I didn't understand it. It was confusing. Nobody could explain it. It was obviously not safe, and it was just not obviously not ready. But I always told myself like, oh, if why doesn't somebody make a crypto that's easier to use, that gets through all this? And so at that point, I had a friend named Chris Moy, who lives in Costa Rica, who was one of the original co-founders of Divi. He and I were surfing buddies. He was a surfing instructor, and he and I would go to all these parties and drink beer and geek out on SEO, black hat and gray hat techniques. So we were both SEO people at the time. I had a network of 30 or 40 websites, and so he was always diving into all these things. And I gave a presentation there at what's called Silicon, they call it Silicon Beach, in Santa Teresa, Costa Rica. I was invited by Elian, and I gave a presentation on virtual reality because I was the founder of Virtual Reality Times, which is one of the biggest blogs in VR at the time. And so I'd been doing that before I was doing crypto. It's kind of my way of sort of focusing, having my tech life. I don't know. Am I giving you too much detail, or maybe
No,
it's you find it
no, that's
interesting?
great
No,
because
So
also
please.
I think a lot of people can also identify in that, right? Like
Yeah,
it is like
right,
exactly.
getting into crypto and then
almost immediately getting into a bad experience is something a lot of people go through, because when you hear about it, it's usually too late for you to get into it, but then now you're interested, so you usually get in at the wrong time. And then you have a lot of new things that don't have like a little part of similarity with what you know. It's like just completely new. So it is, it is an experience that most people go through.
I think it's worse because it is completely new, but then they use terms like wallet, and then we think that there's something physically in it, and that makes it worse. And then when we say you don't have coins, they're on the blockchain, people's eyes glaze over, your head explodes, and you melt on the floor because you don't understand any of that.